May I humbly request that we do the public presentation of that book first. I'd like to invite Chief Pius Akinelure, if you may, to the book stand, as well as the GCEO of NNPCL, the Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energy of the NNPC, to be supported by the Chairman of Ondo State Council of Obas. May I now invite His Excellency, the Governor of our dear state, to join them. Of course, the Governor will be supported so that we can get this done properly. Thank you. Thank you. Please, a copy for Bank MDs, copies for Bank MDs, please. Thank you. Thank you. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will now hand over the microphone back to Chief Pius Akinelure to do the public presentation of the book.
Your Excellency, we keep to ourselves, but we will send it to the organizers. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May I request humbly that you just raise the book as a mark of public presentation. Thank you very much for doing this. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We may now return to our seats. I will be inviting the as we all return to our seats, invite the speakers to the microphone. I'd like to invite all the bank MDs, one after the other, to launch the book. Then we proceed to the segment for the speakers. First, let me invite the Managing Director of Fidelity Bank. Okay. All right, before we continue with the launching of the book, let's go to very, very critical.
Excellency, the indefatigable governor of Ondo State, and the one that the God Almighty have sanctioned, the one that you fight him at your own peril. I greet you, Your Excellency. Quickly, before I go ahead with the protocol, I want to introduce our friend, your friend, Mr. Jackson, and our people from, and the host of the state capital, Kabiyesi, long may you reign. I greet you, sir. I want to use my dear sister, permit me, members of the cabinet, that I have to use my very dear sister, Honorable Wumi Isaac, as a point of contact for the entire cabinet of Mr. Governor in Ondo State. My sister, God bless you, ma. You're so welcome. And I want to greet all the Kabiyesis using the Kabiyesi Odudun as a point of contact. All the MDs and captains of industries, the friends of Mr. Governor of Ondo State, I greet every one of the community in Ondo State. The investors, they were watching so cleanly to see what you're going to do to some professional agency like Ondia, like Ondipa. But we see that Your Excellency, being a person that fully comes from the private sector, you know exactly what to do. And we want to thank you that you have not allowed the rejig of any kind to happen to India and at the same time to happen to Ondipa. We are enjoying that, and we can see the stability in all this sector. Your Excellency, if you want to compare the past from the present, then the corridor of where we are at this moment, that is almost our internal generated revenue in 2 years. I don't think we are that far from Lagos, but because I want to believe that there are some things that just need to be adjusted, and which the business community of Ondo State are looking towards you, being the first full private sector governor that we want to have in Ondo State. I'm saying all this, Your Excellency, for you to know that, our hope is so high, looking up to you, being the saddle, and as well, your deputy, who is a seasoned administrator, and he has a lot of things. The people in Lagos will come to Ore. They will buy this material. The people in Akure will go to Lagos to buy made in Ondo State goods. So something is actually responsible. The same thing happens to MDF, to HDF, to marine board, plywood, pulp, and all that. Also, Your Excellency, we have a cassava to ethanol plant that is one that has the capacity, that we have the capacity to create about 300,000 crates of eggs per day, and we are looking at employment in the neighborhood of 5,000 people. We have also submitted our application to Ondipa and to the SCDA that is responsible for the place that we have decided to go to. So generally, Your Excellency, it is indeed an honor to be invited to this esteemed gathering to discuss a crucial topic that is essential for the development, provision, and management of infrastructure facility in their respective countries. This contractual arrangement is referred to as public-private partnership. So PPP is referred to as generic term used to describe a myriad of structures that facilitate the participation of the private sector in the provision of public infrastructure and services. It involves a contract between the public sectors and all that, Your Excellency. We have a lot of types of BPP. We have the build, operate, and transfer. We have the build, rent, transfer. We have the build, transfer, and operate. We have concession. We have DBB, design, bid, and build. We have DBFO, design, build, finance, and operate. We have the DBMF, design. Why is it that we have a lot of all this potential that, of course, some of the investors have not shown interest to be able to come into? But I will say this, that is because the government needs to do more, Your Excellency. The government needs to do more by making sure that everybody or the investors are able to know what we have in Ondo State. Just like what the government did concerning the deep sea ports, but by bringing in a who have the money, for the people who want to do
global entrepreneurship body for young people, Dr. Sumi Smart Francis. Thank you very much for the great works you're doing, as well as other members of the State Executive Council for supporting our governor. Okay, we'll take light music now as we invite the cultural troupe to entertain us briefly, very briefly, for about 3-4 minutes. Then we move to the second speaker, who is
Ebemiru Jibori ahe kokoro ki kokoro Ebemiru Jibori kamodu Ofo ehun Ọlára gómìnà Aiyedatiwa níjọ́ wọ́n jáwé olúborí. Bòró bá ti pẹ́yè èlè ṣàìjẹ́, bòró bá ti pẹ́yè mà lè ṣàìjẹ́ òra mi. Bòró bá ti pẹ́yè èlè ṣàìjẹ́ òra. Àgbélárò ẹnjìníà gbé mi sókè àlòkò ló sùn. Àgbélárò ìrẹ́gùn ìdára pé ọlọ́pọ̀ lè mú wẹ́ wá wá ti rẹ̀gùn. Adélàmí mi wọ́n gbà ti rẹ̀gùn ọmọ lọ́wọ́ ọmọdé. Ìdára pé ọlọ́kọ̀ yóò mú wẹ́ wá wá ti rẹ̀gùn. Wọ́n gbà ti rẹ̀gùn, wọ́n gbà ti rẹ̀gùn. Ìdára pé ọlọ́kọ̀ yóò mú wẹ́. Kábíyèsí. Ọ̀túnba Bánkọ́lé bẹ́ẹ̀ ti kú mi o. Ọmọlájẹ gbàbèlè jẹ́jẹ́ òbèlè yan. Ọmọlájẹ gbàbèlè jẹ́jẹ́ òbèlè yan.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. The award-winning Ondo State Cultural Troupe. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
If we go back historically, say 20, 30, 40 years ago, or even beyond that, Ondo State is known for cocoa plantation and the timber industry. Those were the main or the major industries that the state relied on to generate revenues. And in my study, I discovered that as at 40 years ago, the money that we're making from cocoa or the tons that were produced been, allowed to stagnate over the years. And one of the ways of doing this or preventing it is by having this kind of conversation. What can we do? There has to be deliberate policy changes and strategies that will maximize the potentials inherent in our blue economy. So what is this blue economy? It's a concept that focuses on sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, .2%. This is tourism alone, out of the 4 or 5 major subsectors that I spoke on earlier. In Nigeria, I think it's estimated to contribute to less than 2% of our GDP. So we are still way, way behind. And this is one area that on those businesses that we can also harvest from the blue economy. Another thing that I found interesting in the literature as I was preparing for this lecture is that Ondo State is kind of very, very unique in the sense that when you are talking about wealth in Nigeria, most often is about Lagos State. Lagos State generates so trillions of naira annually, 5th largest economy in Africa, this and that. But how many people know that when you are talking of multi-dimensional area, Ondo State remains one of the safest. So we are not doing badly security-wise, but a lot needs to be done to make sure that our properties are safe, our investors are safe, and our people
and development of MSMEs in Ondo State. Mr. Oye, please, let's put our hands together for him as he steps to the microphone to speak to us about Bank of Industry and development of MSMEs in Ondo State. Of course, we all know for people who are in the industrial sector, we are society. So it's important that we listen carefully to
like a company like First Mazima, that we started with a small loan, but increased in its size and is taking bigger loan. That shows that it has experienced growth, right from just what we are calling small businesses to a medium and getting to large enterprises now. Denki Wire is represented here with a strong potential to keep growing and to contribute immensely to the industrialization of the state. There are also a lot of other companies like that even in Ondo State. Recently, we run a rapid program we call Rural Area Program on Investment for Development, targeted at businesses, especially youth businesses that are run by youth in the rural area. We're giving them up to 10 million naira. 100 million was dedicated to Ondo State, and this one is being fully implemented. It's ongoing. We have different other funds, the 200 billion FGM fund and the FGM manufacturer fund. It's available also for the. I will be recommending and I'll be suggesting to the executive governor. So let us look at expanding this matching fund. Yes, we have 1 billion. We can look at 10 billion, 20 billion, generally set up by Bank of Industry and the state, dedicated to the businesses in here. We have seen a lot of potentials. We have seen what has happened in the cocoa processing. Yes, the previous speaker talked about probably there's a decline in the in cocoa production. But I can say that in Bank of Industry, we have experienced some growth in in our lending to this sector. Last year to this year, we have released about 5 billion to this sector. And we are very confident that between now and next year again, we might be looking at far more than that to release this sector. So we have funding. And we are ready to finance all sectors, especially where there's a value addition. We are amenable to supporting the various clusters in the state. We are willing and ready to work with the state government, and it will be important for us to look at enhancing the existing funding dedicated to MSMEs in Ondo State. And once we do this, we can generally look at the parameters, the criteria for lending, for supporting these businesses. Every state has its own peculiarity. They have the specifics, and this can be looked into consideration in developing a framework for supporting these businesses.
Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the next 5 or 6 minutes, we shall watch a documentary on the tourism sector, oil and gas, the blue economy, and the seaport that will soon come to Ondo State. Please watch and enjoy it, and I'm sure that investors will be taking note of the things that will be said in that documentary. The documentary, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's take it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Aiyedatiwa Odirorun, our ease. Under Aiyedatiwa Odirorun, our ease, we shall be experiencing order, security, and the rule of law, urban-rural development, through agriculture and blue economy, revolutionary technological advancement and industrialization, efficient healthcare and social economic welfare, adequate power and affordable
the Kábíyèsí of Ondo. Kábíyèsí mo kí yín o. Gbogbo yín pátápátá ni mo kí. All our chairmen from the various local governments. MDs or representative of the MDs. Thank you for coming to be part of this great event. All security operatives, I recognize every one of you. I don't want to join the organizers of this event with all our party leaders and members. I want to single you out. Even though you are members of our great party, but for putting this together, you heard from the speaker new civil servants. They have always been there, and a lot of them have risen through the ladder, except those who have retired as a result of years of service. And as a government, that is the primary mandate for us, the security and welfare of the people. And this is what, part of what we have been doing as so you have wider access to credit. All you need to do is to put structures in place, embrace best practice so that you'll be able to access funds. Government does not have the fund to give to you. We don't fund businesses. To another 4-year dispensation through a democratic election later in this pay tribute to the late Governor Arakunrolu Arutimi Odun Ayakeredolu, CON-SAN, under whose leadership the first time of this administration commenced in 2017 and later renewed through another democratic process, which paired us, himself and I, together under a joint ticket in the year 2020. And since employable youth and as well provide a better livelihood for the people. If you listen very carefully, use more cocoa to earn more money. That is why we are supporting agric and agribusiness in Ondo State. 2 weeks ago, we just approved about 1 billion naira for land clearing for our farmers, because one of the